What up, y'all? What up? Jay Sproul, movies, music, sports, and life. Y'all see I got my shooting sleeves on. I bought some new shooting sleeves today. Um, had 7 points last week in the first half and only took one shot, so I finished with seven. And I'm gonna wear these even at work tomorrow. I'm gonna wear long sleeves so my school kids don't know that I have them on up underneath my shirt. But I'm very determined to continue my weight loss journey, and I got to put up at least 20 points for y'all one of these games, so I can finally hit 100 views of one of my basketball. Wait a minute, wait a minute. It's 45 seconds in. Don't none of y'all care about my hooping videos that I put up here? Well, I mean, y'all watch some of them, but y'all didn't come here for this. Y'all came here for Power, Book 2, Ghost. And first of all, let me say salute to the internet for a change. Like, damn, man. And you know what's crazy? When Drew was talking about going over to Paris to do art, that to me was kind of like a foreshadow, like he might get killed. And something told me to go on YouTube when Drew said that to Diana. And then something told me no. Like, so I don't know. Maybe they did spoil it. And I was just not aware that they spoiled it. But as far as I know, I didn't catch any spoilers. I think I caught quite a few spoilers for Power Book 3 Raising Canaan, the last season, and I was upset about that. But we already know what the spoiler is because y'all saw my thumbnail, but we'll still save it for last. We'll go the traditional way. Shout out to my boys, Get Your Bars Up, Battle Rap Media, and also he's a huge Power fan. And of course, salute to my one and only homie from Louisiana, aka Smooth, aka Chance Jollivet. So we start out. Noma's looking in the mirror and she smiled at herself. She's such a beautiful woman, but just like Monet, she hardly ever smiles. So it was kind of interesting that getting married put her in a state of mind to smile for a change. Golden Brooks, aka Janet, Mary J. Blige's sister, guilt trips them for not wanting to go to the wedding. Um, then they cut and they're getting ready to take a written exam on what they've been studying with the professor. And all of a sudden, Diana just left class. And for a split second, you thought maybe Tyreek was going to follow her and ask her what was going on, but he didn't. But just as Power is want to do sometimes, they. I'm trying not to laugh, but do sometimes. Oh my god, y'all gotta stop laughing. Dude, sometimes it is so funny how they just randomly how they randomly just put plot holes up there and they make you wonder like is somebody getting paid to make sure there's continuity and make sure you just don't leave like gaping holes? But they never explain why Diana just left class during a test and then nobody asked her about it later. It's no explanation. And it's even funnier that Tyreek was like, man, I gotta get my education, man. I ain't finna go out here and chase her. But right before Dinah left class, Effie got the text from Stanford that she got accepted, and she was smiling and she was happy. Um, so the stupid stuff, your stupid robot school, as Kane keeps calling it, yeah, engineering robotics is much deeper than robot school, but Kane don't know nothing, so he keeps saying that. Carter tells um Carter tells Tariq, I need you to find out who this drug dealer is in Staten Island. And it didn't hit me as a setup initially. It just seems like I'm making good on, hey, I told you, you work for me now. And it seemed like he was just making good on making sure he do that stuff. But I should know power better than this by now. I should have been able to ascertain um, that was a setup. So we see Noma's brother from Nigeria for the first time. Forgive me for forgetting his name that quickly. He isn't a very memorable character per se. If it would have been Idris Elba, that probably would have been far more interesting. But he already doesn't like Kane, and he's fishing for information on Mecca. Seems like he either wants revenge for what happened with Mecca, or is he smart enough to figure out that you had something to do with that, Noma? You're covering this up for some reason. At any rate, he wants to know. Then we're at the dinner table. Oh, well, Drew walks in, Monet walks in, Diana walks in. Drew just shades Kane immediately. And Monet just looked completely unimpressed at the dinner table. And it's just so funny to me that maybe the only time they know how to be funny is at the dinner table. Because this was the first time that it was just straight comedies at that dinner table, and they just all just busting each other out and just throwing shade at each other. Oh, really? I thought this was your apartment. Just all that type of stuff. And so, what exactly do you do for a living? It's just they was just all bagging on each other, and the show has been so serious and all over the place that it was good to get a laugh for a change. Then Monet and Kane go into the other room, and she tells him, "You deserve more than me just talking down to you." So they kind of made Monet into a human being, and it's kind of overdue for her to be a human being and for her to apologize. Um, Cousin Dirk, um, y'all know that I absolutely love Atlanta. Went to college there. Um, have been moving back and forth there for like 10 years. So I just absolutely hate Dirk because when the judge ruled that he could leave Chicago and move to Atlanta, he immediately shot somebody at the Varsity. That's a restaurant right next to Georgia Tech on a bridge right over the expressway. And I mean, it was like the first week he was there, he shot somebody, and then they didn't die, but he got off on it, and he never even got charged with attempted murder. So I just have no respect for Lil Durk. Like, you've been so ignorant in Chicago, then you want to come to my city and just immediately do something just ignorant like that. So, but he was a terrible actor anyway. He hardly had any lines, but I guess he wasn't as bad as Carisha was on BMF. So Effie and Noma are both boinking somebody else, but Effie seemed really off when she was boinking Kane, almost like she kind of didn't want to be there. And I was making a note to myself, like, yeah, Effie doesn't seem to be enjoying herself. And then in the next scene, she told Kang, yes, I am going to go to robot school. As soon as this semester ends, I'm leaving and I'm going to California. But I need you to tell Noma that I'm out. And he says, I mean, I can try to put a word in, but you know how the game goes. And she went to the bathroom and it was like she wanted to start crying, but it's like she couldn't bring herself to cry. But it's like, dude, come on, dude. Like, Noma is only marrying Kang to get citizenship. He doesn't really hold rank like that. Did you really think you was just gonna throw him some sweet poom and that was just gonna change the dynamic in his relationship with Noma? It's like he don't got the pull like that to be able to say, okay, you're out and you can go free. Effie is so smart, but sometimes she doesn't present herself as smart. That was like an impulsive, emotional thing to do, and it definitely didn't work. Um, Monet and Reek are both set up to go to Staten Island. The Russians are there. Monet ends up killing them both, and her and Tariq set them on fire, but sent out a text message before they did that the job is done to make it seem like they were dead. Noma immediately meets with Carter and Nico, and she seems to very much not believe that they're dead. They don't give any reasoning as to why Noma is thinking this, but for some reason, Carter just seems completely relaxed and just assured of himself that they are dead. And he also doesn't really give a reason as to why he's so sure. But if Noma is not anything else, she's smart. And she said, if they're not dead, we are both screwed. And even when she says that and walks off, they still like blowing her off. Like, it doesn't make any sense why they don't why they don't think that's credible what Noma's trying to tell them. So now they having a big meeting. The meeting is the Tejadas plus just the Tejadas and Tariq. All the Tejadas minus Kane. And and Davis is there too. And the meeting is basically on how to kill Noma and how to kill Carter. And Davis and Monet intelligently point out that Braden and Effie have to be on board. Otherwise, it's a no-go. And once Tariq got a meeting with them both, Effie and Braden, Effie went off on him about how Lauren is still alive and you got a baby on the way with Diana. And Tariq, for some reason, said, listen, that's of the past. Just randomly, like with an English accent. I was really cracking up in a moment when he did it, but his acting was really bad right then when he did that. Davis distracts Noma's new bodyguard and is one of the weirdest scenarios I've ever seen on Power. He pulls a gun on him. Predictably, the gun is wrestled away. And so then he kills him from asphyxiation, the fancy scientific word for choking him out. And then Method Man just looked like a coon. Like, oh, master. Like, his eyes was just a bugging. Just like such a coon. Like, he was so scared that he choked him out. It's like, well, what was the difference? If you was going to shoot him in the face, why are you so much more frightened that you killed him with your bare hands as opposed to blasting? I don't know. That was hilarious. So then you got the traditional wedding music, and now Kane and Noma are husband and wife. They switch to the church. The guard is tased. Then Tariq is supposed to take out Carter, but like an idiot, he's going into dialogue asking him, "How do you know? How do you know about me killing Zion?" And then of course the gun gets taken away, and it was just so amateur of Tariq. You just take the shot. You don't talk. Um, I can't remember how Braden and Diana caught up to the car, but I can tell you that Braden runs the car into a parked semi truck, and there's a technical term called being impaled. I mean, really, Tariq and Carter should be dead from how the car crashed, but Carter literally should have been impaled by the edge of the semi truck, but somehow he survived. They were trying to kidnap the kids. Monet is shooting everybody that's trying to kidnap her kids. Noma threatens Kane. Tell Kane he has to make a choice. He says F you. And finally Monet comes from behind the door. So then a shootout ensues. And everybody's taking cover. Monet's probably killed about 10 of Noma's people up to this point. And as she's taking cover, she goes, she takes a deep breath, and it's like she knew she was going to die. And then she got rocked. She got rocked about 4 or 5 times. And then she said, "My baby." She said it 3 times. And then she's gone. So they did a good job of not exposing that Mary J. Blige, that her power run ended. I'm even surprised, even though I didn't go on YouTube when I had the thought to, I'm even surprised that I just never saw a leak even 24 hours from now. I have no idea how they kept that in-house. But rest in peace to Monet. And it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to do in episode 10. Movies, music, sports, and life. We out of here.